So we will call tonight's Tuesday, November 18th, 6:30 regular commission meeting to order. Welcome to all those in attendance. First, we'll start with an invocation from Vice Chairman Wilson.
Let us pray. Our Father, we're thankful for this day. We ask your blessing upon each family that is represented here tonight. We ask your blessing upon this board. We ask that you will give us guidance and direction throughout all these cities. We ask all this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Next, Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll move into our public input at this time. The first being Mr. Bubba Hunt. Since we have a long list, if you'll try to keep it under 3 minutes. Yes.
Mine is on the subdivision out there. To my opinion, I don't believe the sewer plant can handle that subdivision. And I just don't think it can. I'd give an example. I live on Hunt Street, not too far from that. And the last 2 days, I smell sewage in that creek behind my house. And we have that problem a good bit, down, up and down through there a good bit. Several of my neighbors, my wife and Brenda Hilson were walking yesterday and they could smell it all the way around the neighborhood, all down, up and down that creek. And I just, they say they can, but I just don't believe that sewage plant can handle that subdivision.
Thank you, Mr.
Okay.
Bubba. Next, Joe Galino.
Thanks for hearing me again.
Yes.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
From the last meeting, we tabled the two conditions. I went back and I spoke with the Planning Commission, and they did not agree with reducing it, the setbacks to 7.5 or going to 3 sides vinyl. And I did present to them the same presentation I made to you, and I can do that again. Like I said, we're trying to build a house that's affordable, and the 3 sides vinyl versus the hardy plank stone or combination of brick also, it'll add $20,000 to the price of a house. And we're just trying to bring it down for affordable, for workforce housing, for young people to buy. I heard today that the age of first-time home buyers are now 40 years old. That's crazy. I mean, I bought my first house, I was 23. I'm also a little older, but I mean, we have got to try to do that. The other part of it was the 7.5 setback. I felt that was a fair compromise. The Planning Commission wanted 10. We were looking for 5. And as I said at the last meeting, the one issue they brought up with the hardy plank and the setback was fire. Now, the fire code says for a 0 rated wall, it has to be 5 feet or greater. We would have 15 feet between houses. And I had presented the pictures I showed this commission to the Planning Commission. So we're asking again to reconsider that, 7.5, and then the 3 sides vinyl. We're in agreement with all the other conditions, have no trouble with that. I've also heard all the issues on the neighborhood. We've heard people talk about the wetlands. I have that already delineated. I just heard Mr. I can't think of his name, speak about sewer. I have already been in contact with sewer. We have that commitment. We know what we need to do. I've addressed pretty much everything that will need to be addressed within that land on this property. So I'm just asking if you would reconsider. Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Tiffany Heitzman.
Good evening. My name is Tiffany Heitzman. I'm the Executive Director of the Home Builders Association, which represents McDuffie County. And we just completed, the SRS CRO just completed a housing study of this region, McDuffie County included. And I'm just here to support tonight this new development, this new neighborhood into your community. Over the next 5 years, McDuffie County needs about 459 new units on the ground. And like Joe said, it's been all over the news the last 2 weeks. The new average home age of a first-time home buyer is 40 years old. And that's because of the affordability issue. And affordable housing does not mean that it's bad housing. These are first-time home buyers trying to get into the market. And we all know your home purchase is your best and biggest investment that you'll probably ever make. And I just wanted to share some things tonight about using vinyl siding. Vinyl siding is rated, it's in the codes, it's a standard building material. It can last up to 30 years. It doesn't have to be repainted every 5 to 10 years like hardy siding does, which a lot of these buyers can't afford to do. I can take you to neighborhoods all over the region and show you, and you'll be able to spot hardy plank over vinyl siding because it probably needs to be repainted. It's a safe material and it's an affordable material. And like Joe said, anywhere from $12,000 to $20,000 it adds to the cost of a new home over hardy, compared to vinyl siding. It's in the codes. It's tested for wind resistance and harsh weather conditions, which unfortunately we've seen, and it's approved in all 50 states. And it's used in millions of new homes all over the country. And it should be allowed to be used here. This is a local builder that lives here, builds here, employs people here that live in our region, and I would love to see y'all support this new community. They build a good product, they stand by their work, and again, they're right down the road, they live here, they work here, and they provide for our economy. So thank y'all.
Thank you. Brenda and Clint Hilson.
I know she has some figures about how much the community's going to grow and all that and how much housing. I just don't believe that. And I don't believe that many people are going to be wanting to come into McDuffie County spending that much money on a house that you can't, with a 7.5 foot setback, you can't even drive a pickup around into your backyard. And I don't think it's needed, and I don't think that, I don't think it's the people are going to buy it.
Thank you. Mr. Clint.
Thank you. I live on Howard Street, which is just on the northwest side, borders that property on the northwest side. I'm very concerned about the light pollution and noise pollution and the displacement of wildlife that will be created by this housing development. And also, I don't believe that it's going to be affordable. When you talk about the median household income of McDuffie County, that's around $54,000 a year. For a $200,000 mortgage, you're talking about average of $1,450 a month. That's around 32% of the income, which is about standard, what you want to pay on your housing. When you're getting up toward $300,000, well, that's about a $2,000 a month mortgage payment, which is now in the 44% range. Now, that's household median income. When you talk about a single person, that median income is $28,000 from McDuffie County. You're doubling those percentages. I don't think this is affordable housing, and I think it will negatively impact the environment. And I'm concerned about the impact. I'm also concerned about Pine View Drive, which terminates right there into that property. There are houses on either side, my neighbors' houses, and I'm concerned that parts of their property will be seized to widen that as an entrance into that property. So I urge the commission to deny this request. Thank you.
Thank you. David and Tammy Perkins.
Hey, we're here to talk about the property, that new neighborhood, Ansley Village. That whole part is just wetland. everywhere. Our backyard, we're right on Old Salem, right across the street, and our backyard, if it rains one day, the lawnmower sinks. We can't even cut the grass the next day. The lot beside us, which is directly across the road, if it rains, people
It's like a marsh in there.
yeah, it's like a marsh.
And with the pond being there draining on that land, there's water's nowhere to go down that little creek. It's just going to end up being a mess. It's going to end up costing the county more money in the long run, in my opinion, because y'all gonna have to do something to fix it.
Yeah, in that pond, I mean, it's flushed across the road before and it's completely wiped out part of the road before. I mean, it's really nothing but wetland. So if they want to make it affordable for the young people, it's gonna cost them more in the end because they're gonna have to deal with flooding. Because it's nothing but wetland. All right, thanks.
Thank you. Ed Darby.
Most of my points have been brought up, but there's a large pond right across the road that everybody knows about. It washed out a few years back. It goes straight across the road to where this subdivision is gonna be. If, after they put the storm drains and the sewer in this place, if that pond busts 3 years from now, who's gonna be responsible for that storm drain and that sewer? You and me, the county, the city. Why take a chance? Another thing, they asked for a variance. Lots are supposed to be a half acre. They asked for a variance of 7,500 square feet. Instead of a half acre, we're looking at 1,700ths of an acre for a lot. And you're gonna take 1,700 acre lot and build a 2,000 square foot house on it? You ain't gonna be able to walk around your house. It's just, it doesn't make a lot of sense, common sense. Another thing, can our sewer plant that we're working on now, we know it's out of date and all that, can it handle another 338 houses? 338 houses are gonna be built on 120 acres. 338 houses. I mean, you can say hello and talk to your neighbor 10 houses down. And if we have a code where the step back is 25 feet, why do we change it? I mean, what is the purpose of having a code to start with if we're gonna give a variance every time we build a house or a subdivision? Doesn't make common sense is what I'm trying to, Thank you.
Thank you. And Stephen Beasley.
Hello.
How you doing?
Good, doing good. Good, my first time here. We have been building houses for since I was 6 years old. 50 years. My dad's been in business and building communities all over the region. And we have vast experience on doing this. I appreciate the issues that have been brought up about stormwater and things like that, but we've just been doing this a long time. So those issues are not going to be issues. We have full engineering, all the wetlands have been delineated, the sewer plant, we already got letters that they're going to service the sewer. We really want to build houses in McDuffie County. I think the businesses in McDuffie County need more residents. We want to grow. Maybe we don't want to grow like Columbia County. And I've lived there my entire life, and I could talk all night long about how I think they mismanaged that county. But we want to see growth to do the kind of neighborhoods we want to do with amenities that people want to live in. And I appreciate people that live the way they live. Some people want to live on bigger lots. Some people want to live on smaller lots. We could argue that all day long, but we've proven what people were willing to buy. They want nice communities. I appreciate the setbacks, but we sell a few hundred houses a year with 7.5 foot setbacks or 7 foot setbacks. Some of the neighborhoods, we have 5 foot setbacks. We don't even build to that. I think that's too low. But we really want to start building houses in McDuffie County. Aiken County has basically taking the entire housing market away from Augusta. Columbia County has very little land left, very little sewable land. The land that there is full of granite and creeks. Aiken County is probably going to build 1,500 houses this year. Columbia County is gone from 1,500 to 600. What we want to do, and I've lived here my whole life. I got to shop in the grocery stores just like everybody else here. We want to give people another option in the region so they don't have to go to Aiken County. There are no neighborhoods in Columbia County hardly being new neighborhoods. I don't know, Joe, is there any new neighborhood in Columbia County this year? New neighborhood? Like zero. Their growth management plan with the geniuses out of Atlanta have restricted the growth in Columbia County. So when you drive down there, yeah, there's traffic jams. That's because Columbia County has restricted all the growth in this one little corridor. And they won't allow anything out in the Appling areas. When they decide to run a new sewer, what do? They don't run a new sewer to try to even out the growth. They run a parallel sewer right next to the sewer that's already there. So let's just throw thousands of more people right in the same place. So it's gotten to the point where there is no growth in Columbia County. But I think that McDuffie County ought to be open to some neighborhoods like we do elsewhere. We are going to pull people that would live in Columbia County to McDuffie County. I have lots of friends and lots of people that actually live in McDuffie County that work in Columbia County. It's not that far a drive. I think we built a nice neighborhood. We've been doing this 50 years. It'll probably be maybe 30 to 40 houses a year. We're talking about a 10-year project, so we're not talking about swamping the world with houses all at one time. It's a slow process. But I think McDuffie County needs more growth than it has, and I think that we're the builder and the developer. We're in a Berkshire Hathaway real estate company. It's going to help draw people up here. Maybe a lot of current residents don't want that, but I think there's a lot of people that want to see more people in the stores, more people, more activity. Maybe the downtown can grow if we can maybe start with this one neighborhood. We would like to do more neighborhoods, but we wanted the 7.5-foot setbacks because it just helps us on lot cost. To try to, we call ourselves, we're not a cheap builder, if everybody knows. We're not D.R. Horton, we're not any of these other builders. We view ourselves as building the best value house in the market. It's not going to be the cheapest house, it's not going to be the most expensive house, but you're going to get the biggest bang for your buck for us. And with that, we build neighborhoods. We want to do a pool. We want to do, usually we've been doing a couple of pickleball courts, walking trails are huge. And to do that, you just have to have a certain number of units in the neighborhood. I don't believe there's any lots that are 7,000 feet. I believe the smallest lot that was approved was 9,000. Is that right, Joe? Yeah. 9,000. So 10,000. That's like a 60, by 130, 140 foot lot, something like that. Some of them are going to be bigger. Some are maybe a tad smaller. We have a bunch of different plans. Some fit smaller lots, some fit bigger lots. Very unique neighborhood. Doesn't look like military government housing. We have like 125 plans. So when you go in our neighborhoods, it all looks unique and somewhat custom, even though it's not custom. But we just love to build houses up in McDuffie County and get started. We've been looking to buy some land here for a long time. And the only last thing I'm going to say is the hardy plank. Man, that's just a killer. There's other builders up here that are not building with hardy plank, they're building with vinyl, I believe, right, Joe? Yes, sir. And so that puts us in a very hard position to compete with, I believe, Keystone. I can't remember who else is up here building houses. So that's a major obstacle for us making this project successful. Because, like Joe said, just add so much money to the price of a house. We have to start. If only people can afford $300,000, then all of a sudden we got to start building. We got to take something out if we have to do hardy. So we really request that we can at least do 3 sides of vinyl. We do stone and brick on the fronts. Sometimes do hardy plank on the fronts. So it's not like you're just looking at, just 4 sides vinyl houses. Each house plan has a different elevation. So, but anyway, that's it. We can answer any questions if y'all have any.
Thank you. All right, well, we'll move on to our approvals. The first being of tonight's agenda. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Motion made by Vice Chairman Wilson.
My second.
Seconded by Commissioner Holloman. All in favor? Any opposed? Next, set of minutes from our regular session on November 5th. Is there a motion for approval?
I make a motion to approve.
Motion made by Commissioner Holman,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Favors. All in favor? Any opposed? Next, information announcements. Again, this has been on the agenda for a few weeks. The youth basketball and cheer early registration has begun. Registration is currently going on now. Fall baseball, softball camp, November 13th through December 11th. Registration is open. Number 5, McDuffie 4-H for a Level Up Pathfinders Club, November 20th from 5:30 p.m. to 6:45 at the 4-H office at the old courthouse. Number 6, the Toombs Judicial Circuit District Attorney's Office is holding a record clearing event at the Thompson Housing Authority on Saturday, November 22nd, starting at 11 a.m. And number 7, Turkey Drive giveaway hosted by Cooley Myrick on November 22nd between the hours of 10 to 2 at Pitt Street Park. With that, we'll move into we have no appointments or reappointments tonight, so we'll move into our staff reports. Number 8, County Manager's Report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a few things to bring you up to speed on. I did authorize our maintenance folks to get quotes and start repairs on the scale house out at the transfer station. You remember that got damaged with a truck. I hesitate to even say this. I don't want to jinx it, but I did get word that they should be start laying asphalt out at Gilpin and finishing work on Stagecoach this week. So look forward to getting that done, and I'll keep you updated on that. We're working on the Rock House project, the right-of-way acquisition. I spoke with the attorneys and spoke with GDOT, so we're moving that project along, and also working on putting together a contract to work on our public works facility. The roof is in very poor shape from the storm and just from years, so once we get our insurance settlement, we'll be advertising that one, and we should be getting the solid waste RFP, the hauling and transportation service, out this week. And I also did want to mention that our community development department that we had discussed last time, it has been reorganized from 2 organizations into 1. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Burton. Are there any questions for Mr. Burton from the board? If not, we'll move on to number 9, Finance Director's Report. Thank you.
The budget report presented tonight is for October 2025, which represents 83.3% of the budget year. General fund has expended $24,967,057.91, which represents 66.7% of the budget has been expended. Revenues collected are $19,867,161.22, which represents 53% of the revenues that have been collected for the year. If we review the enterprise funds the county has, solid waste currently has a deficit of $169,793.61. Big Heart and Raceville campgrounds have earned a profit of $109,803.96. The fire and EMS currently has a deficit of $1,649,421.86 for the year. We are currently receiving the fire fees, which will reduce this deficit. General fund has contributed to the transit program $145,214.94 for the year. General fund has contributed to the 911 center $170,714.77. For the Hurricane Helene expenses, the county has paid $11,800,000 $849,809.81 of the incurred hurricane costs of $17,658,937.02. Does anyone have any questions on the budget report? The next reports you have are the bank balances for the county. The balances for the general funds total $5,217,112. Enterprise funds total $1,960,032. Grant funds total $1,661,107. Special revenue accounts balances total $913,504. SPLOST and T-SPLOST balances are $19,685,514. The LMEG account has $2,155,056, and the TAN account has $7,271,578. The next report you have tonight is hotel tax collections. Collections for the month of October for hotel tax was $26,851. Compared to this time last year, it's a 7% increase. The next report tonight is local option sales tax. Collections for the month of October were $264,407. Compared to this time last year, it's an 8.5% increase. Moving over to your next report is going to be title Avaloing tax. Collections for the month for Avaloing were $11,509. Taft collections were $104,067. The next report you have is for energy excise tax. Collections for the month were $33,601, which represents a 3% increase. I think in your packet you probably have a duplicate energy excise tax. So if you move over to your next report, it would be for SPLOST 6. Activities for the month were $3,230 in expenses for the recreation. This is for engineering cost for the baseball tower. And interest revenues of $8,162. The next report you have is SPLOST 7. Collections for the month were $396,031. There were expenses of $8,124. $5,400 of that was for the Rock House expenses. There were $2,724 for engineering services for the new baseball tower. Interest income, $47,826. The final report you have tonight is the T-SPLOST. Collections for the month were $109,568. There were expenses of $17,705 and interest income of $2,337. Does anyone have any questions on any of those reports?
Thank you, Pam. If there are no other questions for Finance Director, we will move on to old business. Number 10 is consideration to approve the subdivision at Ansley Village. The staff report, I guess Director Walker's here. Director Walker, do you want to address the board and go over their staff recommendation?
Good evening, Chairman, Commissioners. So if we recall, we've seen Ansley Village before, and everything has pretty much been said. But again, background, the property is currently wooded acreage, and Beasley Development Company is planning to build 338 single-family 3 to 4 bedroom homes, ranging in square footage from 1717 square foot to 2439 square foot. They want to develop in phases of 50 lots per phase. The price point is between $200,000 and $300,000. It does have some wetlands, and Blue Water Engineering is working with them on those wetlands. Most of the lots will be 9,000 square feet. Proposed density is 2.8 homes per acre. So currently, Beasley Homes has agreed to stipulations given in the September and October meetings, but looking for the compromise, which we talked about last meeting. It went back to the Planning Commission, where the Planning Commission said they're going to stick to their original decision on those conditions. And to remind you of those conditions, excuse me, we have the exterior brick, stone, stucco, or hardy type board on all sides. The cul-de-sacs, streetlights, curbing, and sidewalks must meet code. Fire hydrant locations and flow tests must meet the 2024 fire codes. Water system must be looped with 8-inch minimum lines. 1 tree per lot or every 50 feet of frontage. Size setbacks 10 feet. Home size 1,700 to 2,400 square feet, and compliance with subdivision ordinance, house numbering, and mail receptacle placements. For the conditions that were set by the Planning Commission.
Thank you, Director Walker. So the recommendation from the Planning Board is approval with those following conditions. Is there a motion for approval or anything else?
For disapproval.
The motion is for disapproval?
Right.
So your motion is to deny the request? Sir?
I'm not sure that I understand that. Is the planning and zoning denying the compromise and denying the,
The Planning Board is recommending what, after,
He came in with the same stuff we had the first time.
yeah, but that is not, the Planning Board's recommendation was to stick to exterior being completely brick, stone, stucco, or hardy board on all sides.
Yep, from the jump.
Side setbacks of 10 feet, not granting any reduction of,
well, I thought
further
we
reduction.
basically decided to approve that last time. And then we sent it back for water sewer, the water, the wetlands mitigation.
No,
No,
I think we were gonna approve it and send it back for the setbacks on the vinyl side.
The
three
problem is,
sides.
yeah, the developer wanted to change up from the Planning Board's recommendation. And so we said, we're not gonna change in this meeting from what the Planning Board has recommended. You can go back and restate your case.
Right.
And so the Planning Board reviewed that request, and so we stick to our original recommendation. So the recommendation
Can't make good same thing.
is for approval of the subdivision with the following conditions, A through H.
Deny the planning board recommendations or deny the application?
Application.
Okay.
What was their justification on the 10 feet opposed to the 7? What was their justification?
They didn't really have it when they just said that they felt the 7 was too close for preference. It's originally a 25-foot side setback. So they felt 10 foot was compromised enough. They didn't want to go lower than that.
I believe the city's side setback is 10 feet, as it's like the neighboring, as this property adjoins the city limits. And basically, the planning board said they were gonna stick to the 10 feet that they had discussed and go no further, which I agree with.
There was a motion on the floor.
Yes, sir. Is there a second?
You denied the
the whole
That would be
project.
denying the whole project, but,
I'll make a motion to approve the planning and zoning, their recommendation.
with no additional
compromise.
compromises.
We got rules in place, like Mr. Darby said, that if we're gonna have them in place, we need to go by them, so.
I don't,
Well, the motion didn't receive a second, so it,
Okay, you died, okay.
unless somebody seconded that,
I didn't hear anybody.
so there's a motion for approval of the planning board's recommendations as stated.
I don't have a problem with the 10 feet, I don't have a problem with the 10 feet, there are no codes that say that we have to put bricks and stuff all around the building and stuff.
Yeah,
That's
so-
not a,
I made my motion to follow the planning and zoning, so my motion is approving
A through H.
A through H, and
Yes.
it don't have it on our hours like that.
It's in the, the motion was made to approve the planning board's recommendations by Commissioner Holloman and seconded by Vice Chairman Wilson. Is there any discussion? The report is, did you get it pulled up, just so you can make sure?
Page 63.
Just read it right.
Yeah. So exterior's gonna be brick, stone, stucco, and hardy type board on all sides.
let's put your code.
Cul-de-sac.
No, this
No, he's saying is this by code?
This does not.
I think it's a design, I think the intention of the planning board, correct me if I'm wrong, was that if we're gonna give variances, the quality of the house is gonna be, the exterior is gonna be, a certain quality. And I think originally they said because of the closeness, they wanted the,
Right, it was supposed to be to
Masonry.
prevent fire or something, and also the look, aesthetics.
Right.
Is it aesthetics or safety?
I
We
think-
have
I think-
approved them like this before with just one side. I just traveled through Atlanta. That's all they're doing in Atlanta and stuff and all of this. I mean, this affordable workforce thing is a problem in the nation. And the National Convention in NACO is a situation that we need to deal with here. I don't have any problem with following the code on the amount of setback and stuff. But to additionally add $18,000 to $30,000 to already residents that just by the design, by looking, it doesn't take away the quality of it. That bothers me since it's not a real code, and we've approved them in the past without them being all around. And the ones that I've just seen everywhere, that I just walked through last week in most subdivisions, to get that type of thing in place have been similar to what the code. Again, but the setback, I don't have a problem with it. It's just if it's just about aesthetics.
I'm in agreement with you on that. If it, it's really not a safety issue from what Wes said, and the planning and zoning department said that. So I personally disagree with planning and zoning on that one as well.
so you wanna restate the motion? Or you wanna stick with the motion?
I'm gonna stick with the motion. If one of them want to change or make another motion, they have that.
So the motion on the floor was to approve as is A through H, seconded by Vice Chairman Wilson.
I have no problem with the setback, but I would offer an amendment that we would not consider the aspects of just the design. We've done it in the past. It's sort of moving away from what we've done in the past also. So I would offer an amendment to allow just the front and the vinyl siding to be in place there. That's all I've been seeing everywhere I've gone.
Require the facade to have the hardy board or masonry siding, and then have vinyl siding on the side and rear.
I want to carry this motion for
For a vote?
going back.
Okay. Motion made by Vice Chairman,
We'll have a roll call vote.
motion made by Commissioner Holloman, seconded by Vice Chairman Wilson. All in favor? Or do you wanna have a roll call vote?
Yeah.
All right,
Okay, on the first
Ashley.
motion without them in.
You've got a motion, you've got an amendment on there, so it's, and no one seconded, so it'll die.
he
or-
seconded.
Oh, it did get, the amendment
You
did get a
second
second?
with the amendment? Oh, okay. Did Wilson second?
No, he seconded
Actually,
yours.
go ahead and do the roll call.
He wants a roll call vote
Okay.
on the first vote, first motion.
Okay.
So Commissioner Favors,
No, first one should know.
Commissioner Holloman, you
Yes.
made the motion.
Yeah.
No.
Well, well, I say stick to the planning board's recommendation. I mean, they gave the recommendation as is, so that would be my vote.
All right, 3-2, let's go.
Okay.
So it is approved with the planning board's recommendations as is.
Can I ask a quick question, and I know I'm out of order? Was the recommendation to go forward with what the planning board recommended as far as the Hardy Board and the setbacks?
Yes, as
So
recommended.
that's what you agreed to?
Yes.
All right, thank you much.
All right, with that, we'll move into new business. Number 11, consideration to approve resolution 25-13 to recognize Melanie McClendon. So the resolution states that whereas Melanie McClendon began her career with McDuffie County Board of Commissioners on August 20th, 1987, and whereas Melanie has faithfully served the county of McDuffie County as Secretary Permit Clerk of the Planning and Zoning Department for a period of 38 years, demonstrating professionalism, dependability, and commitment to excellence in public service. And whereas during her tenure, Melanie has provided exceptional administrative support, managed permit applications with efficiency and accuracy, and assisted citizens and colleagues with courtesy and respect. And whereas her knowledge of departmental procedures, attention to detail, and willingness to assist others have greatly contributed to the success and smooth operation of the Planning and Zoning Department. And whereas Melanie has earned the respect and appreciation of McDuffie County Board of Commissioners, department staff, and the community for her years of loyal and conscientious service. And whereas Melanie will retire effective November 30th, 2025, leaving behind a legacy of integrity, hard work, and dedication to the citizens of our county. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Commissioners hereby recognize and commend Melanie McClendon for her outstanding service as permit clerk and extend best wishes for a long, healthy, and fulfilling retirement. Is there a motion for approval for this resolution?
Make a motion to approve.
A motion made by Commissioner Holloman and seconded by
Discussion.
Vice Chairman Wilson.
Correct spelling on further.
Further? Where is that at? At the bottom?
Yeah.
Good catch. Noted. All in favor? Any opposed? This will be presented at her retirement party Friday, which all of you are invited to. Item number 12 is consideration to approve a work order for project TIA 0017612. Mr. Burton.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This was already a pre-approved project through the T-SPLOST TIA program with GDOT. This will authorize Atlas, the engineering company, to begin the engineering work, the pre-construction work, permitting, utility locates, et cetera, for the Samuels Road project out at Sterling Wells. This is an economic development impact project.
I make a motion to approve.
Motion made by Commissioner Joplin,
Second.
seconded by Vice Chairman Wilson. All in favor? Any opposed? All right. Number 13 is consideration to, well, let me say number 13 through 22 are consideration to approve the IT policies that have been brought before the board. Mr. Burton or Mr. Spurlin, which One of y'all wanna?
No changes.
No changes?
October work session.
All right. Is there a motion we adopt these IT policies as presented at the October work session?
I make a motion to approve.
Number 13 through 22, or do we want?
Yes.
So Commissioner Jopling has made a motion to approve items number 13 through 22, which are IT policies as listed. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Favors. All in favor? Any opposed? We'll move to number 23, being consideration of longevity Christmas incentive. Mr. Burton?
Thank you again. Before you is a request for longevity and incorporated with a Christmas bonus. I believe in the past, or a Christmas incentive, I believe in the past the county has used a full-time and part-time method of giving an incentive around the holidays. Last year, I believe the county took it a little bit step further and broke it out into years of service and different tiers. And those costs were $300 to $1,000 depending on your years of service. And as I understand, that was a reflection of the work that everyone did responding to Helene. In appreciation of that. That cost to the county was around a little more than $95,000. We come up with another option, which basically just cut those amounts in half, and that cost is $48,000 to the county. We currently do have around $33,000 budgeted in FY25 utilizing the older method, so we would have to come up with about another $15,000 across the county to do this option option 1 that's listed in your packet. We have no written policy. I do ask during y'all's discussion time if you do choose to pick one of these options that we go ahead and incorporate that into our FY26 budget so we can go ahead and plan those numbers as well and establish some consistency.
As we talked about earlier, Mr. Burton, I would consider, or I'd like for you to consider running those numbers with maybe 150, 250, 300, and 350, and see if that gets us more in line with that 33 number, the budgeted amount.
I wouldn't mind increasing it, but I would.
This one? Well, that puts you at,
But I just don't want to go over 15,000 in the hole where we are right now.
that puts you at $15,000 more than was budgeted in that structure.
Option 1.
Yeah, but if you still go with the years of service and just change the amount, you can, of like the 10 to 14 and 15 plus, it gets you down more in line with where it was budgeted, so.
So you're saying that just take it from the top two, or you take it from
the bottom two that are larger amounts?
we were saying the same thing, but I just got, well, I would say spread
the difference.
Yeah, to everybody. Maybe go 125, 225, 350, 475 or something like that.
Is everybody good? Let's say, is everybody good with option 1? As far as the way it's broken out, years of service? Because I think we could give Mr. Burton the ability to stay within a certain number and then let him tweak the pay.
We could do that, just say, do it like that with, and then set like we do with a number to do not exceed.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
Just
exactly.
Say 40,000.
So you're proposing 375 down to 300 and 500 to 350?
That was my recommendation.
Yeah, but I didn't like that one. 'Cause
You could do
it
350.
kinda- The top, the bottom two take all the heat. Like you saying, spread it evenly.
It's just a bigger jump, which I guess that's because you've been there longer, so.
I'm good with the,
That's what I'm saying, but instead of $100 difference, it starts getting $125, then $225. No, $125 on both of those.
I'm good with option one with the years of service and give Mr. Burton a chance to mess with the numbers and make it fit.
Are you still thinking of 40,000 number?
Not to exceed 40,000.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
I'll make the motion then to do that, whatever we said. You understand it?
You know what to do. It ain't the thought that counts this year.
Yes.
So just not to exceed 40.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I can do that. I was
Commissioner
trying to-
Jaffa made the motion to go with option one to stay within that $40,000 budget, and seconded by Vice Chairman Wilson. It sounded like.
Yeah.
All in favor? Any opposed? Number 24, consideration to purchase wheeled loader. Mr. Burton, that's you too.
Okay, I pulled up the spreadsheet here. Those last two numbers, you're under your 40,000. So if y'all want me to spread that out in equitable steps, or just stay with the 300 and 350, because I recalculated this and we're right at 38,000. So.
Well, that was, my point is I didn't want to, I think the longevity should be appreciated as opposed to penalized.
Okay, I can rerun that and create those steps
That's
out.
what I did. I mean, theoretically, 0 to 4, they haven't been here for 30 years, and they haven't, in my opinion, haven't built equity in the county, so the people with more longevity shouldn't be penalized for doing the right thing.
I'll start and then back those down and reallocate those from a higher down to a lower.
Okay.
And
Get
close
within
that gap
that
up. So,
frame.
Yeah,
All right.
I can do that.
So number 24 was consideration to purchase a wheeled loader. Is that report coming from you, Mr. Burton?
Yes, sir. There is a existing loader out at the transfer station. It's seen better days. It's over 10 years old. There's actually 2 of them out there. Talking with Tori, he had gotten an estimate from Cat, from actually Yancey Cat, to replace this. They offered a trade-in value of about $100,000. So we're requesting to trade this in. The overall cost would be $278,640. They're offering a $100,000 trade-in, so the county would owe $178,640. We do have this money in a SPLOST account that it was already allocated for equipment, and this is on state contract, so we would not need to solicit advertisement.
Is there a motion for approval? Vice Chairman Wilson, second by Commissioner Favors. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, thank you, Mr. Burton. Number 25, discussion on FY 2026 budget.
Can you get the TV turned back on, please, sir? Before I start, I'd just like to thank the staff and all the department heads. I threw them a curveball, decided to do up things a little differently this year, and requested some data from past years, so you'll see that reflected in your sheets. So I just wanted to thank them for all the hard work in assembling everything. The slide's probably a little hard to see from a distance, but this is our current organizational chart. We discussed this at the work session. So that's kind of how we laid out, and it's in your packet, so it's a little bit easier to see. Again, our challenges that we're trying to meet in 2026 are unsteady revenues. When I ask staff to pull the numbers from previous years, you can see that the staff or the revenues do not increase on an exact trend that's well fit. There's some up and downs with the revenue. Our tax digest did not grow quite like we anticipated. We're in a bidding war with other jurisdictions. They're offering 50 cents a dollar an hour more here or there for staff, and so we do see a lot of staff come and go. Obviously on everyone's mind is the uncertainty of the economy, the increased cost of our services with inflation. I believe is Social Security set it at 3.7. So we're having to pay more like everyone else. In the past, sometimes the government got better rates on deals, but we're having to pay list price as well, like everyone else. And then our cash flow is still somewhat shaky, and that's just residual effect of Hurricane Helene. We're still making those payments, but it has affected our fund balance as we await reimbursement from FEMA and our insurance claims. As I mentioned in the work session, kind of the way we designed this budget, we did assume a status quo. We reduced our capital expenditures within the general fund. We eliminated several contingency lines and incorporated those anticipated expenditures in the appropriate GL accounts. We reorganized expenditures again into more appropriate accounts. Mainly that affected IT technology support. We moved stuff from contracts or services into that technical support GL account. When I originally presented this at the work session, there was no growth assumed in those numbers, but we did, looking back, felt somewhat comfortable about assuming a 3% growth. That's kind of what we've netted over the look back of the years. And also, we had a list of vacancies throughout the county, and in order to get this budget a little bit more easier balanced, we did unfund those 23 FTEs across the county. Those positions are not abolished, they're just unfunded. And in doing so, that brought us down from about a $2.3 million deficit to a $468,000 deficit. So not funding those positions did help our deficit very much. But this does, to remind you, we're having to pull out of our reserve account to balance this fiscal year budget, especially and that's on the general fund side. So what this means is if positions are needed, capital is needed, we would have to pull those monies out of reserve to fund those either personnel costs or that capital cost. I've already spoken with staff. We had a department head meeting. We're going to have to monitor our spending very closely. And that falls into the next one about scrutinizing our procurement, making sure that we're getting the best value and the lowest cost, if at all possible, and utilizing whatever means we can do that, whether it's through more bid advertisements or looking at cooperative purchasing, or in some cases just doing without, and seeing how far we can get with that. The way these numbers are presented, it puts our fund balance less than $500,000 starting January the 1. Now there's two things with that. That is assuming we don't receive any more FEMA reimbursement payments.
Is that assuming any tax revenue?
Yes, that's bringing our revenue in, but we're still having to make those FEMA payments. We're still having to make payroll. So this is if we don't get any more FEMA reimbursements until after the first of the year.
Assuming we get our tax payments in from
where we're getting our tax payments in, but with the with the hurricane payments we're having to make, as soon as we're getting our tax payments in, they're going right back out.
Okay.
So.
That was the assumption I was
But,
trying to understand.
If we get a slug of cash from FEMA, by the end of the year, we should start regaining our original fund balance of about $5 million. So I just wanted to put that out there that, we're still running pretty lean until we get the bulk of our hurricane payments in, reimbursements in. It's kind of hard to see, but this is just a breakdown of all the funded departments in the general fund, and it's about a $20 million budget, $20,939,000 and some change. So that's your general fund budget, and that funds the governing body, yourselves, and all the other departments that fall within that. This again is another slide. So across all funds, we're looking about a $65 million budget for FY26. That's general fund, all the internal service funds, special grant funds, campground funds, and SPLOSTs. Going back to ask staff to pull our revenues, and broke these out by fiscal year and category. You can see where the majority of our revenues come from. Taxes, those are all lumped together as property tax, SPLOSTs, lost, hotel, motel. And then the smaller taxes on vehicle tags and title and license. Again, our estimated revenues across all funds. This is how it's broken out between taxes, fees, grants, fines, interests, transfer in, and capital outlays, which are grants, or the tax from, that's T-SPLOST. Actual revenue, actual expenditures from 22 to 25, what's been expended so far, broken out in the categories of salaries, professional services contracts, supplies, capital, interfunds, depreciation, other costs, debt services, and transfers between funds. Estimated expenditures across all funds. As you can see, a lion's share of it is salaries and benefits. But the other major portion is what we transfer out to other funds, being fire, E911. Those are the two biggest transfer out.
Solid waste.
And solid waste is only about 120-something thousand estimated, but the other ones are closer to $500,000 or more. And that 11 million number also shows us transferring monies into special categories for SPLOST projects. This is a slide I presented the other night. This is just the general fund. You can see it's now balanced. This is the trend. I did remove the hurricane stuff that was kind of exaggerated this past year, so I did remove that so you can kind of see how the general fund has trended since 2022. General fund revenue is broken out. Almost half is in taxes, but that's not all property taxes. That's all the other taxes included as well. And the sheets in your book break those down even further. These are just the high-level overview and we can get into those shortly. General fund expenditure, again, your personnel cost is the lion's share of that. What's included in the general fund and all these numbers? We did experience the increase in employee health care. We were originally looking at 590-something thousand, but with not funding those vacancies, we were able to get this cost down to 477,000. And this amounted to an average of about 6% per employee that we did not pass that cost on to those employees. Transfers to other funds, solid waste, E911, emergency services, and transit. As you can see, transit was the lowest amount. We made considerable progress with the fire transfer. We were looking well over $500,000 to begin with, and now we're at 417,000. So the fire chief was able to find some savings, and we were able to find some as well. So we got that number down. And then you're looking at 585,000 towards 911 and 122,000 to solid waste. Now with our new, we're able to get a new contract, and hopefully we'll have some reduced costs there, negotiate a better rate so we can further reduce that solid waste transfer and make that enterprise fund actually sustain itself. What's not included in the general fund was $1.3 million in requested capital, $1.2 million in requested positions, salary adjustments, or bonuses. There's, again, there are 23 FTEs that are vacant. They were not funded. It does not include any across the board salary adjustment. I did show those costs. If we were to institute a 5% across the board, it's an additional $448,000. A 2.5% cost would be half that, $224,000. I did hear some commentary on our holidays. So I had staff. We run the numbers actually this morning. An additional holiday costs the county about $23,000 per day. So if we were to add holidays to the calendar, you would look at an additional $23,000 added to the budget. And that's a function mostly from public safety staff because they get paid those holidays. One thing that I talked about, and I see a misspelled word, and that's going to bother me, but we've had some conversation with our building codes department and looking at our fee structure. Currently it's a flat rate. Wes did provide me some documentation, and other folks around places where I'm from have utilized the ICC base for construction costs with a modifier. We're proposing to use a modifier based on square footage of 0.003. There's a chart in your book, and it, depending on the classification of the occupancy commercial occupancy that they're wishing to build, there's a estimated square footage cost. Obviously, your square footage goes up, the cost to construct goes up, but when you apply that modifier, that comes up with your permit fee. Columbia County currently uses 0.0064, and they're looking at going to 0.0075. Richmond is at 0.0065. Hepzibah is 0.004, and the average around the area is 0.0045 to 0.005. The chart over there to the right is an example of what someone was building an office space in a shop area. Currently, their permit fee would be $2,800. If we went to this ICC based with a modifier, their permit cost would be $8,300. So that is a significant jump. I wanted to put that out there to give y'all time to digest that. I can run some scenarios. It's kind of difficult at the moment to see exactly how much revenue that would increase rather than just taking a percentage of what this example is and applying it wholesale, because there's a lot of different variables, sizes of construction and the number of construction. So that's just one thing that we're looking at. Initiatives for 2026, class and compensation study. To my knowledge, that's been at least 10 years since one has been done. Recodify our ordinances. There's a lot of ordinances that are incongruent with state law or not how we're doing business. So we need to recodify those. Continue and hinging on the class and comp study, reorganization of our workforce, rebidding multiple contracts, our engineering, copiers and printers, healthcare, and solid waste. Solid waste and healthcare contracts are our biggest cost. So if we can negotiate a better price on those, we'll realize significant savings. The development of a capital improvement plan to address vehicle replacement, facility repair and replacement, and looking at real estate and facilities across the county that we could possibly get rid of and put back on the tax roll. And development of a transportation improvement plan to include pavement condition scoring, traffic counts, crack sealing program, striping and other safety improvements, and create a bridge and large culvert inventory. And this just helps us in future SPLOST and T-SPLOST programming.
What would be your time frame on do the class and compensation study? Because if that's going to be an increase in personnel costs, shouldn't we incorporate that into our decision on what we do as far as raises going forward?
Yes, and if y'all are agreeable to it, I believe the estimate I got was about $40,000 to do this. We would do that within the first quarter of 26, so we could come back fairly soon, at least, hopefully before mid-year, and present those salary adjustments.
Because I was looking at that, one of your slides earlier does not have a 5%, 2.5% increase. So I would expect that our personnel cost, last time we did that was 10 years ago. There's probably going to be some increases somewhere. So
I'll go ahead and brace you, for a significant increase.
So we include that in our 26 budget?
I've not factored it in there yet. I want a direction on if you wanted to do a 2.5 or a 5.5, or if you want to hold off and wait until the class and comp study is done. We can program for a placeholder for a 5%, 8%, whatever percentage y'all are comfortable with, but just realize that that's going to come out of reserves unless our revenue, we see a bigger revenue increase next year.
I'm kind of thinking that might not be a bad idea, but just don't institute it until after the study comes in. And I would say do 5% because that's the higher number, but don't do it till you get the number in.
And just to point out on all this, Mr. Burton, correct me if I'm wrong, but for the board, so this budget is reflecting a very, very conservative revenue number.
Correct.
Because what happened is, over the years, we had revenues all over the place through, post-COVID. And then last year, the revenues were budgeted at like 15% growth factor. We did not see a 15% growth factor. So that's what left our budget, kind of not in line for what was projected. So what Mr. Burton and Pam have done this year is go back to a very conservative revenues number. So
yeah, I looked at some of those numbers that you really didn't increase at all on some of them.
Correct.
So I know those are significant, conservative numbers, but if our salary increase is going to be 10%, then and we put in a placeholder for 5%, we gotta spend it. I mean, you know, if assuming we're doing what we need to be doing, so.
Well, and two, if the study is budgeted to be done next year, it doesn't mean that the salaries have to take effect in 2026, right? I mean, is that what you're proposing? Is to budget for potential?
Currently, we're proposing to do the study in the first quarter, if it's approved, and have that. That'll be a couple of month process. And then we'll bring those results back to the board. And if our revenues have increased or we feel comfortable, we could do a budget adjustment then, and then adjust those salaries accordingly.
But we're not budgeting. Well, we're saying that we're not budgeting for any salary.
That is
mass
correct.
salary
Right now, we're
increases.
not budgeting for any additional compensation.
Thank you.
But, so you're not gonna put in 5%?
I can, I just, if that's the board's direction, we can build in the 5%. But for this exercise tonight, I just give you the cost of what 5% would look like, but we did not actually build it into the budget.
Well, that's kind of my point. If
I think he's wanting direction too. Does the board want a 2.5% or 5% raise? before the
8%,
budget is
you know,
completed?
10%, what number are y'all comfortable with? Either approving in this upcoming budget, we hold it until the study, or we go ahead and give it out. So I'm looking for direction on what y'all are comfortable with.
Well, that's my
as far
point.
as
I'm
that.
just saying, I think we need to put in a 5% number, and then if, after the study comes in, we can say 2.5%. We can say anything we want to, but we need to budget for whatever. We need to have something budgeted so that we can use it. How many of y'all in agreement?
Yeah.
I just left the comp meeting, payrolls up across the state. Everybody almost is doing a salary study. That's a big thing at this moment. We're able to keep comp rates down because payrolls have gone up so high. So we're not gonna pass on to the state from the pool any increase. As a matter of fact, we're gonna pay dividends, but that's because payrolls have moved forward. If we're gonna be in the market and be competitive and keep people with us, and that's the whole point of that, we're gonna need to move fast and do that salary study. And I'm inclined to agree with Bill, at least put the 5% in. Let's see what the revenues are, and then we can go from there. That's what's happening around the state.
That's kind of where I'm coming from on that, if that suits you.
Well, absolutely, we can build those in.
Okay.
So we're on initiatives for 26.
Yes, I have completed that.
Can't find that in mine.
A run through of the fire and EMS fund, since that's a highly supported fund by the general fund. Is supported by EMS collections, the fire fee, and the general fund. Currently staffing 4 stations. Estimated cost for service are around $6,000, and there were no capital requests or expenditures for 26. This here is just a breakdown of where the revenue comes from. Breakdown of your expenditures. As you can see, personnel costs are the major cost of running a fire service. We'll move into other funds. These are all the SPLOST, T-SPLOST, the hotel motel, solid waste, transit, all the several judicial funds, E911, campgrounds, and our eternal shop and lawn care fund. I did want to point out, and I mentioned it earlier at the last work session, we have a pretty healthy fund balance in the campgrounds, so I'm proposing to bring some of that out of reserve and put into the FY26 budget. There's some work that we need to do out at the beach. There's a drainage issue that's washing all of our sand away. We need to do some renovations on some steps, sidewalks, things of that nature, and also need a new road blower. They're currently using backpack blowers and a small little tow behind blower hooked to a golf cart. It takes them a little while to blow, especially this time of year. So I've looked at it, it's starting to get some age on it. So look at buying a new blower and seeing if our funds hold up. A backhoe attachment might also be an option to help replace things out there that a shovel can't get. This is just an overview of the other funds. A lot of this is transferred in from other collections. Either transferred in or that's an existing fund balance that we're pulling that money out of that's been previously collected and unspent. Looking to close out SPLOST 5 for 2026. There's $57,000 remaining in that account. Bids close this week to finish out the interior of the Raysville Fire Station. So we're looking to allocate those additional funds for that. Moving into SPLOST 6 for 2026, there's about $2.28 million available countywide. Y'all have already obligated $318,000 of that for Sweetwater paving to pave the parking lot. We've set aside $500,000 for the softball and football tower, and that's currently out for bid.
That'd be baseball tower, correct?
Yes, the softball tower has already
That's
been complete, but it's the baseball tower and the football tower. That's the one that's out for bid. $100,000 for engineering work out at the transfer station. If you're familiar with that, you know that's in pretty poor shape. So I think there's some urgency that we need to start moving with engineering work to get that facility repaired. I would like to have a new facility, but those are probably looking about $4.5 to $5 million. So if we could shore the one we have up now until we can find a financing source for a completely new one. $167,000 for the Rock House project. I believe there was some smaller identified projects out there related to stabilizing that structure. I did find about $44,000 for county roads. I believe that was in some unused equipment funds. I'd like to use some of that to add to a patching or either stockpiling aggregate for surfacing some of these roads. $60,000 to repair the Eubanks building. There's some significant safety issues with electrical down there and some cosmetic things that needs to be addressed before we rent that out to the public. An additional $70,000 to complete the Raysville Fire Station. I don't believe that SPLOST 5 will fully fund the interior build out. $70,000 for a Sweetwater generator. We did get those bids in earlier, I think before I came here. They opened those bids. So this would basically be the grant match for that, so we can get a backup generator for the Sweetwater facility. City of Thompson has about $728,000 left in water and sewer projects. There's $27,000 for Deering Recreation, and the City of Thompson also has about $50,000 for street to do work on their streets and for a lighting project. Taking all that into account, there's about $145,000 left in SPLOST 6. We'll hold that for contingencies, cost overruns, etc. Looking ahead for SPLOST 7, there's some funds allocated, and I'd like to go ahead and start moving with the coroner's facility with site selection and design work, $250,000. Public Works tractor to pull a bush hog for $100,000. Funding of the additional engineering work at the transfer station, that's $100,000. Any repairs that are needed at the transfer station would be $1.2 million. There's a handicap playground that was programmed in SPLOST 7 for $125,000. The Blind Willie McTell Park, there's $725,000 in that fund. I believe originally there was $1 million in that line item, but all the engineering and design work has been paid out of that, so that brought that balance down $725,000. This is one I'm ignorant to, but there's a I-20 landscaping project, and there was $545,000 allocated to that. Government center landscaping for $100,000. There's a campground project allocated. There's about $284,000 for that. There's the bathhouses that we need to renovate out there, and a toilet building that was demolished during the storm. Looking to replace that with a concrete pre-manufactured building, and then Rock House structural stabilization and site improvements out there. Looking at our T-SPLOS projects for 2026, $2.5 million. This will address, this is in the TIA band as well, this will address multiple resurfacing and rehab projects across the county. Rock House Road, Roy Reeves, Groves, Radford, Culbreth, and Culbreth. The Rock House realignment and surface treatment is eating up a good portion of that allotment. And then the additional aggregate surface for those remaining roads coming in at $2.2 million. And then obviously the $0.3 million would be held in contingency for cost overruns, errors, and omissions. And then the Samuels Road realignment engineering for about $201,000. We went ahead and y'all approved the task order for that, but I doubt we would realize any invoices this calendar year. It would fall under next year. Just, I know some of us, we've been talking about costs. I pulled some costs for patching and paving. Just resurfacing a road, you're looking at $244,000 per mile to resurface a road. If you do the full depth reclamation that's been done out on Gilpin, it's nearly $500,000 per mile. Patching is $250 a ton, and that's all dependent on the number of patches that you have to do on a road. So if you add the patching and the resurfacing, you can see that that cost runs up pretty quick to rehab a mile of road. And this does not include any engineering, any permitting, or any construction administration. Those are the dates for our next meetings. And if you have any questions or comments, I'll be happy to try to answer those.
I got a comment on.
Yes, sir.
On what was our LMIG allocation this year?
It's looking to be about $600,000.
So that means we pay 2.5 miles of road.
Resurface, yes, sir. It doesn't go very far anymore.
Well, that's why I wanted to make that public, so that at $244,000 you get 2.25 or 2.5 miles of road over the whole county paved, period. So that's what the state gives us. So that's why it's really essential we vote for TIA and continue to do so.
You'll look in these notebooks. The first one used was a black notebook. This next one's a white one, and just for Dr. Joplin, our final one will probably be orange. So that way you can refer to different colors.
I think red and black is a lot nicer.
The first tab, well, before you get to the first tab, I wanted to outline the number of FTEs that are across the county. You can see from FY23 to what was requested in FY26 was about a 25 FTE jump. FY23 there was 276 and a half FTEs. For FY26, 301.25 FTEs were requested. And with not funding those vacancies and not eliminating any positions, but unfunding those, right now we're at 262.75 FTEs. After that's the schedule of fees. I apologize how small it printed out. I'm still trying to get that worked out. Again, really the only fee structure we're looking at changing is the permitting fees for building codes. Directly after that is just a recap that's more legible of the revenues and expenditures across all funds. The general fund at $20.9 million. Other notable fund, fire and EMS is $6.4 million. Solid waste is $1.5 million. There's a sewer project for $1.1 million. I believe that was a grant that will be coming in for continuation of work out at Rutsboro Road. Yes, sir. The next page is just a breakdown of the general fund, where the general fund money goes to each, with respect to each department. Following that are the actual breakdowns from 2022 to what is currently recommended, broke down by each department and each functional class. So if you're inclined to go line by line, we can do that, or you can do that light reading on your own.
I think we can read it on our own.
Following that is all the other funds, again broken down by GL accounts. You can see in different functions: salaries, contracts, services, capital. Questions or comments? Our next work session will be December the 1st. So between now and then, if you have any insight, words of wisdom, please let us know. We can assemble again on December the 1st and work on this, massage this. I would like at the December 3rd to have the first reading of the ordinance, and then December the 16th would be the second reading and adoption of the budget ordinance. So that is our plan. And I should have a draft ordinance ready at the work session. That'll outline some of our policies of how we intend on executing this budget.
Well, thank you. I know you and Pam have spent a lot of time on this over the last few weeks. If there are no further questions, is there a motion to adjourn? Motion made by Vice Chairman Wilson, seconded by Commissioner Johnson.